We all have secrets. What is yours? Silent Secrets Audio. Confess in the comments.
At 2:13 in the morning, someone unlocked Mara's back door with a key that only her family was supposed to have. This anonymous confession came from a 34-year-old pharmacy technician living outside Flin Flon, Manitoba. Her rented bungalow stood near the edge of town, where the last streetlights gave way to black spruce and abandoned mining roads. Mara lived alone, except for an elderly dog named Cooper, who rarely barked. That night, he woke her by pressing his trembling body against the bed. Mara heard the back door close softly. Not slam, not creak, close carefully, as though whoever entered already knew which hinge made noise. She reached for her phone and saw a notification from the motion sensor in her kitchen. The attached image showed an empty room, but one of the chairs had been pulled away from the table. Then she noticed the timestamp. The picture had been taken 7 minutes earlier. She called emergency services without speaking above a whisper. While waiting, she heard bare footsteps cross the kitchen floor and stop beneath her bedroom. The house was small, but the basement stairs were directly below her bed. Cooper began growling at the floor. A few seconds later, something scraped against the basement ceiling, slowly following the outline of the room above. Police arrived within 12 minutes. They searched every closet, the attic, and the basement. No one was found. The back door showed no damage. An officer suggested Mara might have forgotten to lock it, until Cooper led them to a storage cabinet beside the furnace. Behind it was a narrow opening cut through the drywall. Inside were food wrappers, a sleeping bag, and a plastic container filled with water. Someone had been staying there recently. Mara moved into a motel and called her older brother, Dean. He owned the bungalow and had offered it to her below market rent after their mother died. Dean sounded shocked, but he discouraged her from telling the police about the family connection. He said the opening was probably left by a previous tenant. Then he asked whether the officers had found a red duffel bag. Mara had never mentioned a bag. The next morning, police returned with her. Deep inside the opening, they found the duffel. It contained copies of Mara's work schedule, photographs taken through her bedroom window, and several pharmacy receipts with her name circled. There was also a notebook recording when she slept, showered, and left for work. The final page contained a sentence repeated 6 times. Dean says she won't stay long. When confronted, Dean admitted he had given a spare key to their cousin Nolan, who had recently been released from custody and was hiding from people he owed money. Dean claimed Nolan only needed the basement for a few nights. He knew Nolan had begun entering the house while Mara slept, but he said nothing because he was afraid she would leave and stop paying rent. He also admitted disabling one of the basement motion sensors through the home security account he still controlled. Police found Nolan 2 days later in an empty cabin north of town. In his backpack were Mara's missing house keys, one of her sweaters, and a small pharmacy bottle containing crushed sedatives. Investigators believed he had been mixing them into the powdered drink she kept beside her bed. Mara remembered waking several mornings with headaches and mud on the kitchen floor, she had blamed the dog. Dean received charges for helping conceal Nolan's presence and interfering with the security system. Mara never returned to the bungalow. Months later, while reviewing the evidence, an officer showed her the photographs recovered from Nolan's phone. Most had been taken inside the house at night. The oldest photograph showed Mara asleep in her bedroom. It was dated 3 weeks before Dean claimed he had given Nolan the key.